Good evening and welcome to Sun Meadow Temple. We are so happy you've joined us. My name is Alba and I use she, her pronouns. This is our 2nd July observance and I'm so happy you are here. As always, the service is recorded and will be posted on our YouTube channel. Please remember our ongoing pentagram project and remember to participate in our mid-year survey. These results decide what we do for the entire year and are very important. They are completely anonymous and I want your 100% real thoughts. If just one more person fills it out, we will have a 25% fill out rate, which is great. And I'm very excited to see what all of you have to say. We will open today with our opening words, which will appear on the slide behind you. Please read along at home or listen as I read the words aloud. We welcome you into the light of the gods and light this flame in celebration. May its brightness symbolize our connection to the gods and the natural world. May you join us in this community of faith, cherishing love and with open hearts. So our theme for this month is faith and doubt, and our readings today are the story of Prometheus from Hesiod, from Hesiod's Works and Days, translated by Charles Abraham Elton, Wainamoinen's Lament from the Kalevala, translated by John Martin Crawford, and finally Euripides' The Bacchae, translated by Gilbert Murray. So we will begin today with Hesiod. Iaptis ascends the bed of love with Clymene, fair-ankled ocean nymph. She brought forth Atlas, her undaunted son, glory Minuetus and Prometheus versed, in changeful turns and shifting subtleties. And Epimetheus of unwary mind, who from old time became an evil curse to man's inventive race, for he received the clay-formed virgin woman sent from Jove. All-seeing Jove struck with his smoldering flash haughty Minuetus and cast down to hell, shameless in crime and arrogant in strength. Atlas, enforced by stern necessity, props the broad heaven on earth's far borders, where, full opposite the Hesperian virgins sing with shrill sweet voice, he rears his head and hands, eye unfatigable. Heaven's counselor so doomed his lot, but with enduring change he bound Prometheus trained in shifting wires, with galling shackles fixing him aloft midway a column. Down sent from high, his eagle hovering on expanded wings, she gorged his liver still beneath her beak immortal, for it sprang with life and grew in the night season, and repaired the waste of what the wide-winged bird devoured by day. But her the fair Alcmena's hardy son slew, from Prometheus drove the cruel plague, and freed him from his pangs. Olympian Jove, who reigns on high, consented to the deed, that thence yet higher glory might arise, o'er-peopled earth, to Hercules of Thebes, and in his honor Jove now made to cease the wrath he felt before, against him who strove in wisdom, even with Saturn's mighty son. Of yore when strife arose for sacrifice twixt gods and men, within Mykonos' walls, Prometheus wilful parted a huge ox, and set before the god, so tempting him with purpose to deceive, for here he laid the unctuous substance entrails, and the flesh close covered with the belly of the hide. There will the white bones he craftily disposed, and with the narrow substance wrapped them round. Then spake the father of the gods and men, Son of Iaptis, thou famous god, how partial, friend, are thy divided shares. So in rebuke spoke Jupiter, whose thoughts of wisdom perish not. Then answered him wily Prometheus with a laugh suppressed, and while remembering his insidious fraud, Hail, glorious Jove, thou mightiest of the gods, who shall endure for ever. Choose the one which now the spirit in thy breast persuades. He spoke, revolving treachery. Jove, whose thoughts of wisdom perish never, knew the guile, not unforewarned, and straight his soul devised evil to mortals. That should surely be. He raised the snowy partition with his hands, and felt his spirit wroth, yea, anger seized his spirit, when he saw the whitening bones, o'erlaid with cunning artifice, and thence, even from that hour, the dwellers upon earth consume the whitening bones when climbs the smoke, wreathed from their flaming altars. Then again cloud-gatherer Jove with indignation spake, Son of Iaptis, of all most wise. Still, friend, rememberest thou thy arts of guile. So spake in sense the god, whose wisdom yields to no decay. And from that very hour, remembering still the treachery, he denied the strength of indefatigable fire to all the dwellers upon earth. But him benevolent Prometheus did beguile, for in a hollow reed he stole from high the far-seen splendor of unwearied flame. Then deep resentment stung the thunderer's soul, and his heart chafed in anger when he saw the fire far gleaming in the midst of men. Okay, so then we'll go on to Wainamoinen's lament. And this is a very long one that people aren't super familiar with, but you don't need to know the rest of this story to understand what's happening in this clip, I promise. Far and wide the tidings traveled. Far away men heard the story of the flight and death of Ino, sister dear of Youkahainen, fairest daughter of creation. Wainamoinen, brave and truthful, straightway fell to bitter weeping, wept at morning, wept at evening, sleepless, wept at the dreary night long, that his Ino had departed, that the maiden thus had vanished, thus had sunk upon the bottom of the blue sea, deep and boundless. Filled with grief, the ancient singer, Wainamoinen of the Northland, heavy-hearted, sorely weeping, hastened to the restless waters. This the suitor's prayer and question: Tell, Untamo, tell me, dreamer, tell me, indolence, thy visions, where the water gods may linger, where may rest Wellamo's maidens. Then Untamo thus made answer. Lazily he told his dreamings. Over there, the mermaid dwellings. Yonder live Wellamo's maidens. On the headland robed in verdure. Over the forest-covered island, in the deep pellucid waters, on the purple-colored seashore. Yonder is the home of sea maidens. There the maidens of Wellamo live in their seaside chambers, rest within their water caverns, on the rocks of rainbow colors, on the juttings of the sea cliffs. Straightway hastens Wainamoinen to a boat-house on the seashore, looks with care upon the fish-hooks, and the lines he well considers. Lines and hooks and poles and fishnets, places in a boat of copper. Then begins he swiftly rowing to the forest-covered island, to the point enrobed in verdure, to the purple-colored headland where the sea nymphs live and linger. Hardly does he reach the island ere the minstrel starts to angle. Far away he throws his fish-hook, trolls it quickly through the waters. Turning on a copper swivel dangling from a silver fish-line, golden is the hook he uses. Now he tries his silken fish-net, angles long and angles longer, angles one day, then a second, in the morning, in the evening, angles at the hour of noontide. Many days and nights he angles, till at last one sunny morning strikes a fish of magic powers. Plays like salmon on his fish-line, lashing waves across the waters, till at length the fish exhausted, falls victim to the angler, safely landed in the bottom of the hero's boat of copper. Wainamoinen, proudly viewing, speaks these words in wonder guessing. This is the fairest of all sea fish, never have I seen its equal. Smoother surely than the salmon, brighter spotted than the trout is, grayer than the pike of Suomi, has less fins than any female. Not the fins of any male fish, nor not the stripes of sea-born maidens, not the belt of any mermaid, not the ears of any songbird, somewhat like our Northland salmon, from the blue sea's deepest caverns. In his belt the ancient hero wore a knife ensheathed with silver. From its case he drew the fish-knife, thus to carve the fish in pieces. Dress the nameless fish for roasting, make of it a dainty breakfast, make of it a meal at noonday, make for him a toothsome supper, make the later meal at evening. Straightway, as the fish he touches with his knife of silver, quick it leaps upon the waters, dives beneath the sea's smooth surface, from the boat with copper bottom, from the skiff of Wainamoinen. In the waves at goodly distance, quickly from the sea it rises, on the sixth and seventh billows lifts its head out of the waters. Then out of reach of fish tackle, then addresses Wainamoinen. Chiding thus the ancient hero, Wainamoinen, ancient minstrel, do not think I came hither to be fished for as a salmon, only to be chopped in pieces, dressed and eaten like a whiting. Make for thee a dainty breakfast, make for thee a meal at midday, make for thee a toothsome supper, make the fourth meal of the Northland. Spake the ancient Wainamoinen, wherefore didst thou then come hither, if not for to be my dinner? Thus the nameless fish made answer, Hither I have come, O minstrel, in thine arms to rest and linger, and thyself to love and cherish, at thy side a life companion, and thy wife to be forever. Deck thy couch with snowy linen, smooth thy head upon the pillow, sweep thy rooms and make them cheery, and keep thy dwelling place in order. Build a fire for thee when needed, bake for thee when the honey biscuit, fill thy cup with barley water, do for thee whatever pleases. I am not a scaly sea fish, not a trout of northland rivers, not a whiting from the waters, not a salmon of the north seas. I, a young and merry maiden, friend and sister of the fishes, Youkahainen's youngest sister. I, the one that thou dost fish for, I am Aino, whom thou lovest. Once thou wert the wise-tongued hero, now the foolish Wainamoinen. Scant of insight, scant of judgment, didst not know enough to keep me. Cruel-hearted, bloody-handed, tried to kill me with thy fish knife, so to roast me for thy dinner. I, a mermaid of Wellamo, once the fair and lovely Aino, dear sister of Youkahainen. Spake the ancient Wainamoinen, filled with sorrow much regretting, since thou art Youkahainen's sister, beauteous Aino of Pohjolo, come to me again, I pray thee. Thus the mermaid wisely answered, Nevermore will Aino's spirit fly to thee and be ill-treated. Quickly dived the water maiden from the surface of the billow, to the many-colored pebbles, to the rainbow-tinted grottos, where the mermaids live and linger. Wainamoinen, not discouraged, thought afresh and well reflected, how to live and work and win her, drew with care his silken fishnet, to and fro through foam and billow, through the bays and winding channels, drew it through the placid waters, drew it through the salmon dwellings, drew it through the homes of water maidens, through the waters of Wainola, through the blue-black of the ocean, through the lakes of distant Lapland, through the rivers of Yukola, through the seas of Kalevala, hoping thus to find his Ino. Many were the fish he landed, every form of fish-like creatures, but he did not catch the sea maiden, not Wallamo's water maiden, fairest daughter of the Northland. Finally, the ancient minstrel, mind depressed and heart discouraged, spake these words immense in sorrow. Fool am I and great my folly, having neither wit nor judgment. Surely once I had some knowledge, had some insight into wisdom, had at least a bit of instinct, but my virtues all have left me in these mournful days of evil. Vanished with my youth and vigor, insight gone and sense departed, all my prudence gone to others. I know whom I love and cherish, all these years have sought to honor. I know now Wallamo's maiden, promised friend of mine when needed, promised bride of mine forever. Once I had within my power caught her in Wallamo's grottos, led her to my boat of copper with my fish line made of silver. But alas, I could not keep her, did not know that I had caught her, till too late to woo in winter, let her slip between my fingers, to the home of water maidens, to the kingdom of Wallamo. Wainamoinen then departed, empty-handed, heavy-hearted, straightway hastened to his country, to his home in Kalevala, spake these words upon his journey. What has happened to the cuckoo? Once the cuckoo bringing gladness in the morning, in the evening, often bringing joy at noontide. What has stilled the cuckoo's singing? What has changed the cuckoo's calling? Sorrow must have stilled his singing, and compassion changed his calling. As I hear him sing no longer, for my pleasure in the morning, for my happiness in the evening. Never shall I learn the secret, how to live and how to prosper, how upon the earth to rest me, how upon the seas to wander. Only were my ancient mother living on the face of Northland, surely she would well advise me what thought and what my action, that this cup of grief might pass me, that this sorrow might escape me, that this darkened cloud pass over. Okay, I hope I got the names right in that. I googled them, and I really hope I got them right. I tried. Okay, so we'll move on to the Bachai, and I'm going to provide a summary before we get to this last clip, because this one you do need to know what has happened before we get to this part. So Dionysus shows up at the city and talks to the people and explains why he is from there, and his mother is from there, by the way. But no one believes that he is Dionysus, and because of that he gets very angry and causes the women of the city to go crazy and eat live animals, dance, and perform miracles in the woods. Then the previous king and the seer Tiresias plan to go to join the party, but the current king says he will arrest the people who go and plans to kill Dionysus. The men capture Dionysus, but he escapes because, well, he's a god. They go to capture the revelers, more specifically the king, who is Pentheus' mother. This is where they see all of the women going just a little bit nuts and getting chased, and they get chased by them, escaping, but they lose their cattle. The women also terrorize 2 towns and end up stealing some babies. Dionysus persuades Pentheus to spy on the women rather than just killing them all, and Pentheus goes completely bonkers at this point too. Dionysus points out Pentheus to the women, and they violently rip him to shreds and kill him. The daughter of the former king, who is Pentheus' grandmother, and Pentheus is the king, runs home to show her father the head of a lion she has killed, but as she becomes not so mad, she realizes that it is the head of her son. They attempt to assemble Pentheus' body, and then everyone gets punished either with exile to the women, or becoming snakes who are first to plunder a city. And so this clip is from the very end of that. And you need to know that Cadmus is the grandfather and the old king. Cadmus. He made him like to you, adoring not the god, who therefore to one bane hath brought you and this body, wrecking all our line, and me, I no man-child was ever mine, and now this first fruit of the flesh of thee, sad woman foully here and frightfully lies murdered, whom the house looked up unto, O child, my daughter's child, who heldest true my castle walls, and to the folk a name of fear thou wast, and no man sought to shame my grey beard, when they knew that thou wast there, else had they swift reward. And now I fare forth in dishonour, outcast, I the great Cadmus, who sowed the seed rows of this state of Thebes, and reaped the harvest wonderful. O my beloved, though thy heart is dull, in death, O still beloved, and away, beloved. Never more then shalt thou lay thy hand to this white beard, and speak to me, thy mother's father, ask who wrongeth thee, who stints thine honour, or with malice stirs thine heart. Speak, and I smite thine injurers. But now, woe, woe to me, and thee also, woe to thy mother and her sisters, woe always. O whoso walketh in dread of gods, let him but not look on this man dead. Leader. Lo, I weep with thee. 'Twas but due reward God sent on Pentheus, but for thee 'tis hard. And then unfortunately we have lost this portion of the text, so it's a portion of Dionysus' speech that we're going to join towards the end. Until of time what gifts for thee he bears, what griefs and wonders in the winding years! For thou must change and be a serpent thing, strange, and beside thee she whom thou didst bring of old to be thy bride from heaven afar, Harmonia, daughter of the Lord of War. Yea, and a chariot of kine, so spake the word of Zeus. Thee and thy queen shall take through many lands, lord of a wild array of orient spears. And many towns shall they destroy beneath thee, that vast horde, until they touch Apollo's dwelling and fulfill their doom. Back driven on stormy ways and steep, thee only and thy spouse shall Ares keep, and save alive to the isles of the blessed. Thus spaketh Dionysus, son confessed of no man but Zeus. Ah, had ye seen truth in the hour, ye would not all had been well with ye, and the child of God your friend. Agave. Dionysus, we beseech thee, we have sinned. Dionysus. Too late! When there was time, ye knew me not. Agave. We have confessed, yet thine hand too hot. Dionysus. Ye mocked me, being God. This is your wage. Agave. Should God be like a proud man in his rage? Dionysus. 'Tis as my sire Zeus willed it long ago. Agave, turning from him with disdain. Old man, the word is spoken, we must go. Dionysus. And seeing ye must, what is that ye wait? Cadmus. Child, we are come into a deadly strait, although, poor sufferer, and thy sisters twain, and my sad self, far off to barbarous men, a grey-haired wanderer, I must take my road. And then the oracle, the doom of God, that I must lead a raging horde far flown to prey on Hellas, lead my spouse, mine own Harmonia, Ares' child discorporate, and haunting forms, dragon and dragon mate, against the tombs and altar stones of Greece, lance upon lance behind us and not cease, from toils like other men, nor dream, nor past, the foam of the archer on find my peace at last. Agave. Father, and I must wander far from thee. Cadmus. O child, why wilt thou reach thine arms to me, as yearns the milk-white swan when old swans die? Agave. Where shall I turn me else? No home I have. Cadmus. I know not. I can help thee not. Agave. Farewell, O home, O ancient tower. Lo, I am outcast from my bower, and leave ye for a worser lot. Cadmus. Go forth to misery, the way Actaeon's father went. Agave. Father, for thy tears are spent. Cadmus. Nay, child, 'tis I must weep for thee and for thy sisters twain. Agave. On this house in bitter wise our lord and master Dionysus hath poured the utter dregs of pain. Dionysus. In bitter wise, for bitter was the shame ye did me when Thebes honored not my name. Agave. Then lead me where my sisters be, together let our tears be shed, our ways be wandered, where no red Kithaeron waits to gaze on me, nor I gaze back, no thrices stem, nor song, nor memory in the air. Oh, other bacchanals be there, not I, to dream of them. Agave with her group of attendants goes out to the side and away from the mountain. Dionysus rises up on the cloud and disappears. Chorus. There may be many shapes of mystery, and many things God makes to be, past hope or fear, and the end men looked for cometh not. Up the path there is where no man thought, so hath it fallen here. So these readings today ended up being longer than anticipated because the last week focused on the lecture. However, you can see that in all of these stories, people made assumptions without considering the things before them. Zeus does not think about how Prometheus is the trickster, is judging the challenge, and chooses without investigation, then is fooled. Wainamoinen assumed that the most beautiful fish was for them to eat, and thus lost their chance to be with their beloved again. And finally, Pentheus made the unwise decision not to join in the festivities, and to doubt his beliefs in gods, angering Dionysus and causing his own demise and the ruination of his house. All of these people did not take the time to use reason and question their beliefs or acknowledge any of their doubts and suffered for it. So we will now move into the ritual portion of the observance, and I will play the video. We leave this offering for our gods to symbolize our connection and devotion. We gift this rock to symbolize the stability of the gods in our world. We gift this water to accept the flow of our lives. We welcome life and bless our offerings with oil to share our riches. We embrace our connection to each other and the world and celebrate our revival. We will now move into the closing words, which will appear again on the slide behind you. And I will again throw in a reminder to pretty please fill out the mid-year survey. It closes on the 31st. You only have a few days left to complete it. As we move out into the world, let us remember our community of faith. Cherish love and open your heart as you walk through life. Hold dear the light of the gods and our connection with the natural world. Go forth in celebration and carry the light of connection within your heart.